I just finished watching Cults to Consciousness video posted yesterday in which Shalise and her guest, former Mormon and attorney Kolby Reddish, brought an update to an Arizona lawsuit against the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or the LDS Church, or the Mormons. I'm not going to rehash the case here, but it was pretty big deal in the news in 2023 regarding the church's cover-up of CSA. I'll link their video in the description, and I highly encourage you to go and watch the full video to see the full context and updates. In a nutshell, the church lost its appeal in an attempt to dismiss the case, and as of now, the case is going to trial. I just have a couple of points I wanted to make in response. First, if the church wants to call itself the only true and living church on the face of the earth and wants to protect its image, it seems to me that the best thing to do would be to have a policy stating that bishops must report all credible allegations and especially confessions of CSA immediately to the appropriate law enforcement. I've read the policy in their handbook, and it contains legal jargon that is worded in to make a reasonable person believe that their first priority is to the victims of abuse, but actually provides cover for the church's lawyers to provide bishops and stake presidents with counsel to the contrary. But when you have a church that is led by men, and I do emphasize men, that are predominantly lawyers and business executives instead of trained clergy and theologians, I suppose it is to be expected that they'll do all in their power to protect the church's asses and assets rather than the people, the children of God they are charged with protecting. If this truly were the Church of Jesus Christ, and the only true church on the face of the earth, I think they'd take more seriously the words of Jesus in Luke 17:2. It were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck and he cast into the sea than that he should offend one of these little ones. And that leads me to my second argument. I didn't realize the power of repetition and constant reindoctrination until I took a nursing job in which I worked weekend nights and could not go to church. When I took the job, I told myself that I'd get off work at 7 a.m. on Sunday morning and go to church and then go home and get a bit of rest before returning to work at 7 p.m. on Sunday evening. Then reality sank in, and that was completely unfeasible. Not long after I stopped going to church, not because of losing faith, but because of work, and getting that repeated reindoctrination week after week, I was able to begin opening my mind and exploring some of the questions that had been placed on that shelf, but were still nagging at me. So what's my point? My point is that I believe the church should use this power of repetition to root out their hypocrisy by being forced to sing "Do What Is Right" as its opening, intermediate, and closing hymn during every week of sacrament meeting. And it should be played on repeat in the church's headquarters day in and day out until the message sinks in. Do what is right. Let the consequence follow, no matter what that consequence is. I think they might find that they'd be much more respected as an institution and as a church if, rather than attempting to protect their hoard of hundreds of billions of dollars by covering up abuse and thus protecting abusers, they proactively did protect the children and victims of abuse by reporting the abusers immediately. I'm sure they'd avoid a ton of public shame and PR nightmares and save a ton of money on legal fees to pay for covering up CSA in an attempt to protect their name and image. Maybe they could put all that money they saved to use in actual charitable giving and community improvement programs. Just a thought.